I know what you're thinking right now, AP Worlders. Man, there's three. You know what I say to that? I say deal with it. Okay, nah, just kidding. But I'm recording one on the Chromebook, so you only get 10 minutes. The other program I get 15 minutes. So it probably would only been two if it was on the other program. But anyway, the last revolution is the Spanish American Revolution, and that's going to be the final act of the revolutions here. All right, it's going to be the Spanish and Portuguese colonies on the mainland of Latin America, and they're going to be shaped by the preceding North American, Haitian, and French revolutions. All right, and as in the British North America, native born elites who are going to be known as Creoles. So hopefully you remember our Costa system with the Peninsulares and Creoles. These Creoles are going to be the ones that are going to lead this revolution. And they're going to be offended and insulted by the Spanish monarchy's effort to exercise greater power over its colonies and to subject them to heavier taxes and tariffs. All right. So the same way that the Americans were mad that Britain was starting to keep a tighter rein on them, the Creoles are going to do the same. All right. They're also going to be influenced by the Enlightenment. And these Spanish colonies are going to be a little bit different, though, because they had long been governed in a more authoritarian fashion than the British people. So they were kind of used to being ruled harshly, but not, or but now they were just ready to break free. And they also had that division by class as well, that Costa system. In addition, whites throughout Latin America were outnumbered by Native Americans and people of African ancestry. So they were cautious to try to do a revolution after seeing what happened in Haiti because they obviously wanted to keep power and keep themselves in control with the slaves, but they wanted to break free from Europe. So how could they break free from Europe and still keep control of the slaves? All right, and so what they're going to do is they are going to promote a sort of nationalistic feeling amongst themselves. All right. And so that's where that nationalism is going to start to come about. All right. Napoleon's also going to play a big role in this because when Napoleon invaded Spain and Portugal, this is also going to help these Spanish and Portuguese owned places to gain their freedom. All right, the Portuguese family is going to move to Brazil actually to get away from Napoleon when he invades it. And with the Portuguese, system in disarray, the Latin Americans are going to be forced to take action. All right, with both Portugal and Spain. The process is going to last more than twice as long as it did in North America, though, to get their freedom. All right, in Mexico, look there first. The move towards independence began in 1810. It was actually a peasant insurrection at first. It was driven by hunger for land and by the high food prices, and led successfully by two priests, Miguel Hidalgo and Jose Morales. Alarmed by the social radicalism, the Creole landowners, with the support of the church, are going to raise an army and crush that insurrection. But that allegiance of clergy and Creole elites are going to eventually fight to get their independence in Mexico. The entire independence movement in Latin America is going to take place under the shadow of fear of those slaves, all right, becoming free. And so, and the two other leaders, Simon Bolivar and Jose de San Martin, Simon Bolivar, you can see pictured here, he's going to kind of rule or break this part free. And then Jose de San Martin is going to kind of break this part free. Uh, they're going to promote that nationalism. All right. They're going to say that we are all born in the Americas and they're going to call themselves Americanos. And these national leaders are going to make efforts to mobilize the people of color into the struggle with promises of freedom, and they helped to fight against the Spanish and Portuguese. But in the long run, few of those promises are going to be kept. All right. The lower class Native American slaves are going to benefit little from the independence. And the imperial states was destroyed in Spanish America. And it's going to end colonial society. But their their way of life is not going to change different. The poorest, their way of life is not going to change much from what colonial society was. Nor did women as a group gain much from the independence struggle, even though they did participate in various ways. A further difference in the Latin American situation was they were unable to unite. All right, so just like in North America, where the 13 colonies were able to unite, remember at first it was hard. They did the Articles of Confederation, which was like a loose alignment. And then later they're going to see that they need to be stronger and make the Constitution. The Latin American colonies weren't able to unite. All right, partly because of distance, partly because of geographical obstacles made it hard, um, but they weren't able to unite. All right, and also due to like regional differences of the colonies. All right, the aftermath of independence in Latin America marked a reversal in the earlier relationships of the two American continents. The United States, which at first was considered like the leftover or the least important of the New World, they're going to actually grow increasingly in wealth after independence, and they're going to industrialize and become more stable. The Spanish colonies, which are going to start off as the wealthiest and the most sophisticated, they're going to be going in the opposite direction of the America. All right, Latin America has become relatively underdeveloped, impoverished, undemocratic, and politically unstable. All right, now part of that is going to be because the United States is going to kind of hurt their process of doing those things. But just to know that these two areas go in opposite directions after independence. The North America or the United States, we kind of take off, where most of the Latin American countries are going to be left behind. All right. And the main thing that's going to cause this is that industrialization that's going to come up during this era. All right. United States is going to be able to industrialize, and a lot of these countries aren't. All right. So that's it for the revolutions of the Americas. I'll see you guys in class.